everyone, I'm Meg Tucker with Cook with Meg, and today we are in the kitchen getting ready to make such a great family dinner. It is a roasted veggie pasta bake. So disclaimer, we are skipping the meat, but you will not be missing out on any flavor, I promise. First thing, there's the recipe. You'll want to have that either printed nearby, handy, on a tablet, on a phone. I always keep it in front of me. You will see me reading it. And a baking dish that I have spritzed with just a nonstick spray to make it a little bit slippery. That's what we're going to be, that's kind of heavy, baking our pasta bake in. The oven, when you are ready to bake, needs to be at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So we'll preheat our oven right now. I actually was roasting my vegetables earlier, so it's already very close to temperature. And you had two things to prep today. The prep steps for today's recipe, if you are with me right now, would be to cook 2 cups of pasta, your choice. We call it short pasta. We want something that's either like a rigatoni, or maybe it's a penne or a bow tie farfalle. These little guys are adorable. They look like little mini lasagna noodles, but honestly, just use whatever you have. Elbow macaroni, it really does all work. We want about 3.5 to 4 cups cooked, and you will see the volume increases pretty heftily. Did I just make that word up? Pretty significantly once it's cooked. They're like little sponges. When you get the water activated, they kind of grow. So the volume is much bigger from uncooked dry pasta to cooked. So let's get started. We've got a big bowl. I have added my pasta from my colander, which is another tool that you will need. And to that, we're going to add the star of the show. And we'll talk about it first and then we'll get it added. I have a cookie sheet or a baking sheet and these beautiful vegetables that had some olive oil added. And I also coated them in some olive oil and some salt and some pepper. So what's on my baking sheet right now? Actually, I'm gonna do a really easy step, and I'm gonna take my tin foil and tip it, right on into the bowl. So I have peppers, I have onion, I have a bit of mushroom, I have some cherry tomatoes, and I've got, I think that's it, peppers, onions, mushrooms, and cherry tomatoes. Super, super easy. And look at the cleanup. We did tin foil. Ta-da! The baking sheet can literally be put away. Couldn't be easier, and I'm all about that. We want to go with easy, no muss, no fuss dinners. And if you'll see what I've done is I've just taken the roasted vegetables. I really did try to scrape off as much, we call it like the drippings, even though it's not talking about fat for meat, but all those little bits of vegetable that have almost caramelized, you really want those off the sheet pan, off the tin foil, and into the bake. The more we can add, the better flavor we're going to get. Oliver, this is not for you. My dog Oliver, our dog, is my sous chef. He begs to differ. So what do we have here? We've got pasta that's al dente, to the tooth. It's toothy. I could totally eat a piece right away. That's actually really good. Ooh, I'm gonna tell you a quick side recipe. You can make a pasta salad just like this. You would not be going into the oven, but you could add more things and get it into the fridge, and it would be chef's kiss delicious. But we are doing a bake. So this is warm, cozy, hug in a baking dish, using very easy pantry staples like pasta and sauce. If you've got some cheese in your fridge, you'll see I've got a number of different kinds of cheeses here. Little salt, little pepper, super, super, super easy. You can use frozen vegetables. You can use fresh vegetables. You can add meat if you want to add meat. We're skipping it today. And I think we're ready for the next step. Are you with me? Okay. Oven, it's going to be singing at me very soon to tell me it's ready. I'm not ready yet, but I am here holding pasta sauce. Now this one was in my pantry and it's called rosé sauce. So you will see it's a little lighter in color than a traditional marinara sauce. I have 2 cups. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put in at least a good heaping cupful, and we're gonna fold that into the pasta and the veggies. And I always say the following: you can always add more, it's just really hard to take it away. If you end up putting too much sauce, you will have to add more pasta, add more veggies, and then your recipe does get thrown off a little bit. So I always do 1 cup, and then I take a little look. And I see, what are we looking at? What are we looking like? We're looking really good. But remember when we talk about pasta, pasta is like a little sponge. It starts off very dry and very hard, and once it gets into the boiling water, it literally wants to expand. And when it expands, it's taking on moisture. There's my oven. It's taking on moisture, it's taking on liquid. We'll let that sing a little bit more. In saying that, I am going to go ahead and add more sauce because we still have to add all the cheese. So I would rather have a little extra sauce than have it be dry. So give that a mix. The kids can make this up. That was, by the way, jarred sauce, cold, cracked it open, poured it in. Nothing to it. I didn't add anything extra. You absolutely can add extra spices, garlic, basil, fresh basil, dried basil. You can add any kind of spice you wish, but if you purchased or used a jar or a can of pasta sauce, usually that has a lot of that good stuff already added. It might have a bit of sugar, it likely has garlic, maybe some oregano and basil. So chances are you've got a really nicely seasoned sauce already. Okay, next up we're going to add cheese, and you will see that I have 3 kinds of cheese here. Ultimately, we want 1.5 to 2 cups total, so I want you to take your pick. Now the first one I have is grated Parmesan cheese. A little goes a long way. It's considered a sharper cheese. It's a hard cheese that you grate. If you've got Parmesan cheese that you use for spaghetti night and it's in a shaker bottle, absolutely that works. But I like using Parm again because you don't have to use a lot of it and it really packs a nice flavor punch. The other cheese that I'm going to add into the bake, this happens to be a fresh mozzarella. It came in a ball and I literally took my cheese grater and I should have filmed that because it was quite funny. It was a little bit squishy, a little ooey gooey. It almost takes on the appearance of like a cottage cheese in this, or maybe even like a ricotta. And those would be amazing cheeses to add to the pasta bake as well. So I've just sort of folded it in. My goal here is not to break up the noodles, but rather fold everything together until it looks like we want to eat it right away. Okay, it's a bit heavy. So now what we're going to do is we are just going to take all of that beautiful pasta. Likely if you're working in a team of more than one person, you could have one person hold the bowl and the other person scrape. Sometimes I do it like this. Just be careful, it's a little heavy. And all we are doing, this is a 9x9 baking dish. If you have a different size dish, go for it. It really isn't going to puff up and over, but that's pretty much a perfect amount. Now I can turn it, it's not as heavy. And we want to get every last little bit of that saucy, cheesy deliciousness down into my baking dish. At Cook with Meg, we talk a lot about clean as we go. So what I'm doing is, if you have a spill, I want you to give it a quick wipe. If you need to, give your hands a wash, give your hands a wash. I wash my hands a lot during Cook with Meg classes for sure. So here we have this gorgeous pasta bake. You can see, I can see the little bits of mushroom. I can see the bits of pepper, the little bits of, did I tell you cherry tomato? There were cherry tomatoes in here as well. And I just roasted about 2 cups worth. So, hello, it's gorgeous. This is what it looks like. Hasn't even gone in the oven. I have a couple more things that I want to add. And the last would be a little bit of shredded cheese. So my advice to you, and it is on your recipe, save a little cheese for the top. We always want to save a little cheese for the top. It has cheese in it, but we like to top it with a little cheese too. Now, if you feel like you're a cheesy family and you definitely want more than maybe what I've added, you absolutely can add more. I haven't added any salt because, again, the sauce was already beautifully seasoned. My roasted vegetables were seasoned with salt and pepper and olive oil, and my pasta was seasoned, meaning I put a big blob of salt down into the boiling water, so it helped season the pasta. It didn't make it salty, but it takes away it feeling quite bland. I am gonna put a little pepper on top, not to make it spicy, but just to help add some flavor. And the secret that I like to do for this, which is not a secret because you're looking at the same recipe, is just little dots of butter. You could use margarine. If you would prefer to just drizzle a little olive oil, you definitely could. This is about 2 teaspoons. It's very thinly cut. And I like to literally just put little teeny tiny dots kind of all over. And what happens with that, the butter helps to make a creaminess. It helps this get golden and a little bit crispy, almost a little bit crunchy, and just ooey gooey deliciousness. There's my word. And that's it. I mean, it couldn't be easier. There is my pasta bake. Now we need to cook this at 350 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes. You may say, but Meg, everything's already cooked. The veggies are cooked and the pasta's cooked. Remember, we cooked the pasta al dente. It was still a little bit firm. The goal here is not to cook this for hours and hours, but we want to make everything, we want to make everything like super luscious and hot and bubbly and ooey and oozy and so good. So about 25 to 30 minutes. All ovens are different. We're gonna go middle rack, pop it in. I'll meet you back here to show you what this looks like as soon as it's out of the oven. See you in about 25 minutes. We're back, and OMG, that smells amazing. Can you see it? Look, it's bubbling. You know, I could actually put this in for a few more minutes if I wanted, but I got too excited, and I do see that it's nice and bubbly around the outside. Try to save yourself from eating this immediately because it is very, very, very hot. But take a look. If I scoop kind of down in, let me take like a little spoonful. I'm not eating this. I'm just going to scoop it to show you. Look at that cheese pull. It's saucy, it's veggie forward, it's pasta. I've got mushrooms and peppers and onions and tomatoes and a creamy sauce. We've got cheese, we've got little dots of butter. It really hits all the notes and checks all the boxes for an incredibly delicious evening, easy supper meal. Am I going to burn myself if I eat it? Probably, but I want to taste the flavor. Hang on. Oh, guys. That is like a lasagna without the meat and without the work. Couldn't be easier. Serve that with salad, serve it with big crusty rolls or crusty bread, or just a big old bowl of perfect. For this, for more with me, cookwithmeg.com. I hope that you had fun today. I hope that you enjoy your veggie pasta bake. You can put some parm on top. You could drizzle a little olive oil on top, but it's good to go. Leftovers are also so, so good. Again, mentioned me, cookwithmeg.com. Until next time, we will see you in the kitchen. We have a little bit of cleanup, but the great news is while this baked, I did most of it. So you are really, really setting yourself up for a successful dinner or supper or lunch or snack. We'll see you next time. Remember, as always, we are